Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much then again for being here. I'm really happy to see so many people with us this morning. It's good news. It means that networking actually works, which is great because that's the main theme of our seminar for today and the next couple of days. I'd like to welcome our partners from the VETUP project. First of all, IDEA in Espanol, from the City Council of Valencia in Spain. They're the leaders of the project. They are a regional network of public entities in the Valencia region, which provide vet training for the unemployed. I'd like to also welcome CIPA, which is the Association of Institutions for Vocational Training from Bulgaria. That includes the Bulgarian German Center for Vocational Training, the National Business Development Network, and the Znanie Association. I would also like to welcome our friends from Poland, WSEI, I think they say WSEI, which they are the University of Economics and Innovation from Lublin in Poland. And I'd like to finally welcome as well our colleagues from 3S, a research institute from Vienna, Austria. A warm welcome to all of you, to all the participants. You will hear me in English mostly, but I will also try to to speak in French as well. We do have quite a few of our fellow Frenchmen with us today. So we also have one of our colleagues, Mr. Gilles Epaulard, who will be participating in this seminar and will be helping us in translation. So when we do have translation issues, please do take your time, meaning do not make long sentences, make them short so that Gilles or myself can interpret, and then from there, it'll be smoother. Donc j'essaierai aussi de parler un petit peu en français, en partie. Donc très rapidement, bonjour à toutes et à tous. Merci beaucoup de votre participation. Et donc bienvenue. We will be spending three half days together. So today, of course, the 10th, the 16th, and the 29th. You've all received the agenda, but we will be making it clear here on the slides. I think you can see the slides. Please do let me know if you're not seeing them. We'll be presenting today a few of our innovative vet courses and workshops, mainly through a video presentation, but we'll also have the different project managers of these projects with us, either here at the lab or online. And from there, we will have question and answer sessions where, of course, we hope that we'll be able to exchange with you all on best practices, on whether you also have this sort of projects going on in your own countries, how you make them work as well, and therefore, we'll try to exchange between our project managers and yourselves. As you can see, quick technicalities. We have a chat board on the left side. The system is now in English, so it should be a little bit easier for everyone to follow. You can raise your hand at the bottom right corner. You can see that little hand there. And I think that's really about it. That's for the element. Sorry, I've got a few notes because there's a lot of things to say. I'd like to now hand over the floor to Monsieur Pascal Forestier, who is our DAFPIC. He is the academic delegate for professional training at the Academy of Versailles, and so he'll say a few words for a few minutes, and then we'll move on from the Academy of CRETEIL, of course. Thank you very much.
Est-ce que c'est possible de zoomer intervenant quand il parle?
Je n'ai pas cette possibilité.
D'accord.
So yes, indeed, the question was, is there a possibility to zoom on the speakers? And unfortunately, we do not have that possibility at the moment. Very well. Monsieur Forestier, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.
I don't speak English very well. I can try, and if you don't understand me, Benoit or Gilles will translate. Nice to meet you. Welcome Austria, Bulgaria, Poland, Spain, and also France. It's like Eurovision Song Contest, or Olympic Games. So welcome at all. I'm Pascal Forestier, the academic delegate for initial and continuing vocational training, and I am also deputy to the delegate for vocational training of the Île-de-France academic region. France is divided into 30 academies grouped into 18 academic regions. And I am the advisor to the rector of the Academy of CRETEIL. And also, I am the director of the public interest group, GIP, dedicated to continuing education and professional integration. It's okay? You understand me? Okay, thank you. You are very nice. So I want to, at the beginning, I want to talk about missions of school, the school. The Article 1 of the Education Code defines the missions of the school. In France, education is the first national priority. The public education service is designed and organized with people and students in mind. It contributes to equality of opportunity and to combating social and territorial inequalities in educational success. In addition to the transmission of knowledge, the nation sets as a primary mission for schools to share the values of the Republic with pupils. The public education service teaches all pupils to respect the equal dignity of human beings, freedom of conscience, and secularism. The right to education is guaranteed to everyone in order to enable them to develop their personality, to raise their level of initial and continuing education, to integrate into social and professional life, and to exercise their citizenship. The public education has also a mission of continuing education for adults. In this context, I quote the education code. In this context, it contributes to economic, social, and cultural development at local, regional, and national levels. It responds to the collective needs of the country, in particular of companies, by encouraging the raising of the level of qualification of the population and its capacity to adapt to economic and social changes. So I want to, in France, we have the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports is responsible for implementing the school's mission. In France, vocational training is divided into initial and continuing training. Initial training provides a degree course based on the acquisition or renewal of skills essential to the exercise of a professional activity. Continuing education allows an employee, a job seeker, or self-employed person to develop his or her skills, to acquire new skills, to obtain certification, to consolidate his or her employability, to change professional job. Within the national education system in France, there are 3 statutes for vocational training: the status of a student in the school system, the status of an apprentice employed by a company, and the status of trainee in continuing education. Okay?
Oui.
Okay. Thank you, Sophie. Apprenticeship and continuing vocational training comply with the instruction of the Ministry of Education. and also to the Ministry of Labour, Employment and Integration. In France, schools can accommodate all three statutes. The reform called Transformation de la voie professionnelle provides for all vocational schools to train apprentices and trainees in continuing education. The law of 5 September 2018 on the freedom to choose one's professional future insists on the important role of companies in vocational training to develop the apprenticeship and lifelong learning. For continuing vocational training, public schools belong for continuing vocational training, public schools belong to groups of schools called GRETA. A GRETA is a group of local public education establishments, the middle schools, general and technology schools, thank you, and vocational high schools that pool their skills and resources to offer continuing education for adults. It relies on the equipment and personal resources of these establishments to build a training offer adapted to the local economy. In France, there are 107 grades, 30 sectors, at least one per department, per county, per district.
Per district.
Per district. At least one per district. As the greater, you have the chiffre d'affaires, the revenues. The revenues, donc, all great ranks in France, donc 468 millions.
468 million.
For 500,000 trainings per year.
Per year, yeah.
Per year.
Yeah.
For 400,000, it was in 2020 because of the crisis
of the COVID epidemic.
Yeah. And Greta, we have 6 Greta in the Academy of CRETEIL, 6 Greta, and you have the revenues, donc 27 millions, 28 millions, and we had Greta's form.
La réforme.
Non, les Greta formés, accueillis.
Greta's trained.
Les Greta's trained 26,000.
Yeah,
26,000 persons.
Yeah.
Each Greta is created by an agreement concluded between the establishments and approved by the rector. The rector is directly responsible of the Greta map. He fixes the number and the respective areas of intervention. In each academy, donc at least in each academic region, a GIP FCIP, a public interest group for continuing education and professional integration, supports Greta. So it provides initial and continuing training for the staff of the Greta. It offers a network, training for trainers and tutors. It provides training, engineering, and human resources consulting services for companies and public bodies. It implements validation of acquired experience. It coordinates and manages European or international projects in which Greta is involved. It coordinates response to public or private calls for tender. It manages the academic mutualization fund. The mission and services of Greta. Donc, my mission will welcome and guide adults, employees, or job seekers, help define the project and the qualification path, set up training and define services. So we have a local level, each GRETA schedules training based on local demand for continuing training. Companies, regions, municipalities define their needs and publish calls for tenders. The GRETA are selected if their proposals are both efficient and competitive. Because the GRETA are public training organizations subject to competition. The management of GRETA is ensured by a General Assembly and its management by a support establishment which must be a member of the group. In GRETA, there are a president, there are un ordonnateur,
a chief executive. Yeah.
GRETA trainers are teachers with national education specially trained in adult education, trainers from professional circles recruited on the basis of their profile. And a lot of teachers who teach also front of pupils and students. On the regional level, the originality of the GRETA is their network operation. The activities of GRETA of the same academy are coordinated by a technical advisor of the rector for CRETEIL, it's me, with the services and with the CFC,
vocational education counselors.
Thank you. It facilitates the facilitates the relations of the GRETA network with the region public partner, with local companies, with institutions, etc. Yeah. On the national level, the Ministry of Education National, it was there is a national network of GRETA. Yeah. Which the main missions were, what are the missions of
the GRETAs?
Of the GRETA network? They can join the forces at regional or national level for services covering a geographical needs. Yeah. For employment, for training. The strengths of the network. I am a little tight. The strengths of the network of GRETA. Training responses adapted to the problems of each client, reactivity in responding to public and private calls for tender, local rapid and locally adapted offer, increasingly remote or mixed solutions, and the possibility of harmonization of services and the companies, establishments, and partager l'information, partager le...
To share engineering and best practices.
And skills.
And skills.
So the network of GRETA, national network and the local network, regional and local network, have to develop the international cooperation. Yes. And the project, VETUP project, is a community project which allows to share experiences, to increase professionalization.
Yeah.
And thank you to to listen to me this morning. It was terrible for you. I'm absolutely sorry.
No, it was perfect.
But so I can quote Shakespeare, please, to be. So to be or not to be, to be or not to be, that is not the question. to speak English is the question.
That was very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monsieur Forestier. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much for your intervention, which is very important because it really does stress out the importance for ourselves, for our organizations, of cooperation and networking, because that's exactly what we are, what we represent. We are a network, as Mr. Forestier said, on local levels, regional levels, and national level in France. And cooperation is something that we work with every day, in everyday life, and within just about every single one of our projects. So it was important to be able to set that down. If you do have any
si vous pouvez rajouter, en fait, voilà, ce que je souhaiterais, sur quoi je souhaiterais vraiment insister, c'est qu'on a cette originalité d'être en réseau et de travailler en réseau, mais surtout cette originalité d'accueillir dans les établissements publics d'enseignement vraiment la formation tout au long de la vie, c'est-à-dire à la fois la formation initiale, scolaire, apprentissage et la formation continue.
Yeah.
Et cette possibilité qu'on a en France permet réellement de travailler dans cette idée de continuum des parcours, en fait, finalement, pour la professionnalisation.
Yeah.
Le micro est coupé.
Ton micro, Benoît, ton micro.
Le micro est coupé.
Thank you very much. I don't know what happened there. Thank you for that. Vous avez entendu Monsieur Forestier ou pas?
Oui.
I will try to repeat in English then. So Monsieur Forestier was just saying he wanted to add that, of course, we're a network and that's part of our DNA and that's what we do. But the most important fact and most important thing that needs to be stressed out is that all this is done within the public sector. All this is done within the public school system, within the schools. So our schools completely play the role of integrating lifelong education, vocational training. I think that's the main point of what was said. If you do have questions, if you have a few minutes maybe for questions. If you have questions, please do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, listen, if you do have questions even later on, you will be able to either jot them down on the public chat room on your left-hand side. And thank you very much, Steli Beteva, for your comment. Very much appreciated. So yes, you may, of course, use that chat board for that. You will also be able to, if you want to ask questions at a later stage, you can email the questions. We will give you all the information which you will need for that. You'll have you already have my email address because you've received the invitation to this seminar and with the link. Therefore, please do not hesitate. Once again, you can use the raise your hand button, which is on your right-hand side of your screen. Yeah, please do feel free to intervene. The whole idea of today and the next few days, of course, is once again to exchange and to also hear what you guys have to say from France, from Spain, from Bulgaria, from Poland, from Austria. So thank you very much. Yeah, so Monsieur Forestier has other issues to attend to. So thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Merci.
Merci.
Okay, so we'll now get into the heart of the matter, because that's what you're here for as well. So very quickly, just before we go into the first presentation, we'll just go through the agenda of the day. We will try to keep it as much as possible within the limits that we fixed, but we're already a little bit over time, but that's okay. Yes, one last thing I also wanted to say is that the link that you received via email will be valid for all 3 days. Keep that link. Thank you very much. So we just had the opening, the welcome speech by Monsieur Forestier. We'll move on now to Open School for Parents, which is actually opening schools to parents. There was a little mistake in the way I typed things. We'll have a short break after that, and we'll go on to the next illustration, which will be VETUP. I'll tell you a little bit about Opening Schools for Parents. Opening Schools for Parents is a project which has been ongoing for the past 11 years, I believe. We have with us today Madame Sophie Benoit, who is the project leader and project manager, and we have, who you can see, of course, on video cam. And we also have Madame Marie Laparade, who is the main teacher for that program. They will tell you all about it, so I won't go too much into the details, because I might spoil the fun, which isn't really the idea. But it is important to know that this is an ongoing project which has a lot of great results, which Sophie and Marie will be able to talk to us about. So I will now launch, there will be 2 videos to illustrate this project. The first one lasts around 5 minutes, okay? And we will go into, the first one is really about the project, and the second one you will see is basically the beneficiaries. You will see how the training actually works. So that should be quite of interest. So we will launch video after video, and after that we'll open a question and answer session. Juste en français très rapidement, donc on va lancer la première illustration donc sur ouvrir l'école aux parents, un projet qui est mené par Madame Sophie Benoit, donc chef de projet sur ce projet depuis 11 ans, et Marie Laparade qui est je perds mes mots en français maintenant. Qui est formatrice sur ce projet. Voilà, donc on va lancer les 2 vidéos et ensuite on pourra passer.
Elle conçoit des outils aussi pédagogiques.
Elle conçoit aussi. So she also conceives, engineers the tools that are used within the project. But we will keep all that for after. On garde ça pour après, so that we can talk a little more. And now on to the video. So if you can bear with me just a few seconds, just time for me to grab the link, and we will be running. So please do turn off your microphones during presentations, and of course when people are talking. You can leave your video feeds open if you like, unless you have issues with your network. But yeah, so let's start. Do let me know if this does not work for you. It was fully tested, so it should work. So here we go. Alors, on va commencer comme ça. Si ça ne fonctionne pas, merci de le faire savoir dans le chat. Merci de bien vouloir éteindre vos micros pendant les présentations vidéo, mais aussi pendant les présentations des personnes. Et je vous souhaite une belle vision. C'est pas très français, je m'en excuse. En tout cas, profitez bien du film et on se retrouve après. So we will chat in a few minutes.
Ouvrir l'école aux parents, c'est un dispositif qui s'adresse aux parents d'élèves. Donc voilà, c'est vraiment la compétence qui est travaillée de façon prioritaire. Après, bien évidemment, on va travailler l'écrit, puisque les situations de quand même prioritaire. Je travaille tous les jours dans une cuisine. Chez FCIP. Quand je suis arrivée en France, je restais à la maison 2 années. Je restais à la maison parce que je pas trouvé de en baguette pour chercher prendre une baguette et tout ça pour chercher un employé pour travailler pour tout ça pour parler en français. Je ne parlais rien. Comme mon fils il a entré dans les collèges, avec le mari, il m'intéresse.
Est-ce que, avant d'être commencé à travailler,
parce que je ne connais pas de personnes, je n'avais pas des amis ici en France. Quand je participais cet atelier, je connais des personnes, je m'adapte le vite. Je suis très timide avant. C'était comme ça. Et maintenant, grâce à cet atelier, je communique.
C'est une autre formation, c'est quelle formation?
On ne sait pas ce qui se passe. Benoît.
Hello. So I hope you enjoyed this film. We will move on to the second one, which is still on opening schools for parents. It's a little bit shorter. It's around 2 minutes. So we'll see you in about 2 minutes' time. On lance le deuxième film, qui est toujours sur ouvrir l'école aux parents. Celui-ci fait à peu près 2 minutes. On se retrouve d'ici 2 petites minutes. Let's see if I can get that link. There we go. Alors, do bear with me. Apologies for that. I just need to be able to catch that, that link. And we'll stop this. And on to the next. Enjoy. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed these two short presentations, these two films. I'd like to thank, of course, everyone who has participated in these films, because to me, they're exceptional. They're exceptional simply because they're full of humanity. And this is exactly why we do what we do. We do it to help others. That, I think, at least for me, it's the main reason why we go into vocational education. Well, we try to help others. This is a perfect project. It's a project, once again, which has been going on for 11 years. It's co-funded by the European Social Funds, so it's also a European project. We're in Erasmus+. It's exactly the same thing. It's cooperation throughout Europe, and it's cooperation within what we do every day. And this is a perfect example of that. I will let, of course, Sophie and Marie explain the project a little more in detail, give you a little more information. We really do hope that you participate. Marie and Sophie are here exactly for that, to be able to answer questions, to chat with you all about how the project was set up, how it works in everyday life, and how it works with all of the network, who we work with and how we work with them. And I'm sure that you have in your own countries, in Bulgaria, in Poland, in Spain, in Austria, everywhere else, you probably have initiatives which are similar to or close to what has been going on here. So I will leave the floor to Sophie and Marie, knowing that our good friend Monsieur Gilles Pollard will be helping from here on with translating. So once again, for questions, or even for Marie and Sophie, please do make relatively short sentences so that we can translate as we go along. Merci de bien vouloir faire des phrases relativement courtes, en laissant un peu d'espace pour que Gilles puisse intervenir, traduire, pour que tout ça soit assez fluide. Je vous laisse la parole, mesdames.
Je présente un peu le dispositif ou pas
Oui, oui, parfait.
Ouais, je vais essayer en anglais. I try to do it in English. The OSP project concerns allophone foreign parents in the territory of all Academy de CRETEIL. There are three axes of learning: acquisition of French, understanding, speaking, reading, and writing. The knowledge of the values of the Republic and their implementation in French society, knowledge of school functioning and expectation of children and parents. This project is about a relationship between school and families. In order to build the school of success for all students, closer cooperation with parents, in particular with parents far from school. Deepening the dialogue with educational teams based on mutual respect contributes to the quality of school climate and the promotion of co-education. Je continue. There is 130 almost workshop in Academy CRETEIL, 2 hours, 2 times a week. It's a workshop, not a language course. The approach of socio-linguistic workshop aims at the gain in social autonomy of the migrant publics. The objectives are the knowledge of social codes in French society, the mastery of French means to integrate into society and to be autonomous in the daily life. French is worked with parents of different linguistic levels in a specific context, where the necessary school codes are transmitted to follow the schooling for their child. In the school context, the content transmitted to parents must enable them to read and understand school documents, messages from a diary, timetable, report card, assessment of competencies, exchange orally or in writing with the teacher and more generally with the all speakers to to come easily to school, meeting appointment with a teacher, and also to be comfortable in everyday life. We have set up a European Social Fund project to do more and better, like creation of educational tools, experimental workshop, control, writing, and choreographic workshop, like you have seen in the movie. Et voilà.
Thank you very much. Merci. So Gilles, now maybe you can translate in French. No, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. That was, I think, very, very important to be able to go back to the roots of the project and to explain everything that you've just explained. Marie, is there something you would like to add at this point? Marie, est-ce qu'il y a quelque chose que tu veux rajouter à ce moment?
Non, pas vraiment. Je crois que Sophie a bien résumé le projet et ce qu'on y fait, quels sont les objectifs en fait de cette action.
A very good summary by Sophie.
Okay, thank you very much. The floor is yours, dear public, dear audience. If you have questions about this project, about how it works, about the videos that you just saw, please do take the floor. We're here for that. So if there's anyone out there, maybe in Spain, I mean, through with our VETUP colleagues, do you also have in Spain or in Bulgaria projects which are similar to that, which are very much linked to integrating people from migrants, for example, or people who have strong difficulties in your own national language and culture, and how do you deal with that? And how, if you do have such workshops or courses, what sort of results do you have? We will also ask Marie and Sophie what the results are, and from there, and then I will well, actually we have José Manuel, thank you very much, who has raised his hand, so I'll leave the floor to José.
Yep. Hello, I know
Hello.
you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
I want to make a small question to Sophie. It is connected with the project. How do you teach French to people who cannot write and read in their own language? When you have migrants that they cannot read and they are not able to read their own language, they are not able to write. How do you teach French? Do you have this kind of profile, this kind of migrants or people that you work with?
Oui, alors, je peux répondre. Oui, José Manuel, nous avons ce type de public qui n'ont jamais été scolarisés dans leur pays et qui donc ne savent pas lire et écrire. Et dans ce cas, on privilégie l'oral. On travaille essentiellement sur l'oral.
So in that case, the Open School for Parents work essentially on the oral theme, how to speak. Is
okay.
All right? Et Marie, lorsque vous travaillez sur l'oral, comment vous glissez vers l'écrit? Comment vous introduisez l'écrit?
On va introduire l'écrit.
My question to Mary is, starting from the speech work, how can she move on to writing?
On va intégrer, enfin, on va glisser vers l'écrit en permettant aux personnes déjà de comprendre l'importance de certains documents du collège, en l'occurrence. Donc, reconnaître les documents, les quelques documents par exemple, les documents essentiels comme l'emploi du temps. Et
Okay, so Mary moves on to the writing skill, starting on the official documents, the school official documents. So they speak, and the first document they study are the official school documents.
Et on va commencer peut-être à reconnaître certains mots importants, par exemple sur l'emploi du temps, les jours, les disciplines, pour permettre aux parents de prendre des repères sur les documents essentiels. Mais ça n'a pas de sens.
For instance, very practically speaking, the parents recognize words on the timetables, so they can identify a written form of the speech. Yes?
Mais il est nécessaire que les mots écrits que l'on va travailler aient du sens et qu'ils les comprennent. Sinon, ça ne sert à rien.
And of course, these first words they recognize must have meanings to the parents. If the words does not make any sense for them, I mean, it's useless.
Okay. Does anyone else have a question for Sophie or Benoit? Oh, for Benoit, that's myself, sorry.
Marie.
Or Marie. Mille excuses. Peut-être une question, ce qui est aussi intéressant, c'est de voir que c'est en effet un projet qui dure depuis un certain temps, depuis 11 ans. Comment on pourrait analyser les résultats de ces 11 dernières années? This project has been going on for 11 years. How can we analyze, or what lessons can we learn from those 11 years? What are the results of this workshop?
I think the parents are more comfortable in the life, in the school life with the children. And Marie?
En fait, on peut mesurer l'implication plus importante des parents dans la vie du collège. Gilles, je te laisse.
We can notice that parents are more concerned and mobilized to integrate college life. So if I understand the gist of a project, the philosophical meaning of a project is that integration, social integration through school. Yes?
Marie?
Sophie?
I want to say 10 years ago, there are only 8 workshops in Academy CRETEIL, and now there is 130 workshops 10 years and 10 years after. So I think it's
a great success.
It's a great success.
Yeah.
Après, j'ai une question.
So we have a question from Marie-Josée.
Oui,
Question
bonjour. Est-ce que vous avez créé des outils pédagogiques, des référentiels ou des choses comme ça qui peuvent...
Have you by any chance create pedagogical teaching tools, materials?
Marie?
Oui. On a créé en fait assez rapidement des outils parce que dans ce dispositif, il y avait des formateurs donc à l'aise avec l'apprentissage pour les adultes, mais également des intervenants professeurs qui ne savaient pas toujours comment travailler avec des adultes.
And of course, they have created teaching materials and tools, because in these workshops, you'll have on one hand linguistic teachers used to teaching language, but also professionals, teachers coming not necessarily specialized in linguistics.
Et aussi parce que ce ne sont pas des cours de français classiques.
And of course, it is not a traditional classical French course. It's very adapted, oriented.
On travaille la langue pour permettre aux personnes d'agir. Donc, on va être vraiment spécifiquement sur du français lié au contexte scolaire.
The workshops are entirely dedicated to, how can I say, practical French related to daily life, daily problems.
And school life. And yeah.
Thank you.
School life, yes.
Thank you very much. We have a question on the chat board from Martine. Existe-t-il toujours la mallette des parents? Does the mallette des parents is basically mallette des parents is a conglomerate of tools. Does that still exist? Sophie, Marie, est-ce que la mallette des parents existe toujours?
Yes.
Oui. Voilà.
It works. Alors, je sais pas comment on le dit pour la 6e et le cours préparatoire.
For age 10 and 11, from préparatoire 7, from the age of 7 and 10.
We have a question. Nous avons une question. We have a question from José as well. José, please.
I want to ask about the people who arrive to France and don't speak French. How long needs to participate? The average need to participate in the project in order to join the labor market. If you have an average, okay, of course depends of the person, but usually months, a year, or.
Combien de temps, mesdames, pour ces parents qui ne parlent pas du tout français, qui n'écrivent pas, pour comment dire, acquérir des compétences suffisantes pour s'intégrer et parler en termes de mois, en termes d'années?
Oui.
Et travailler aussi.
S'intégrer.
Marie?
C'est difficile, ça dépend des personnes. On a dans les ateliers beaucoup de mamans qui souvent ont d'autres enfants. Et en général, elles ont tendance à rester à la maison, donc à être moins en contact avec l'extérieur, ce que disait.
So first, it depends of people, and they have many mothers in these workshops who do not necessarily go out and integrate social life. So I guess it takes combien de temps?
Alors, en plus, souvent, alors, ça dépend aussi de leur statut administratif. Si elles ont signé le contrat d'intégration républicaine, elles ont par ailleurs des heures de français qui viennent s'ajouter à ce qu'elles peuvent faire dans l'atelier.
The length, it depends also on the social, the legal status of the parents, of the mothers. If they have signed the Republican contract, integration contract, which is a kind of deal with French Republic, they beneficiate. They have French course as well, on more. So it will be faster for them. to acquire French skills. But may I insist, Marie and Sophie, the question of José was, could you give us an idea? 6 months, a year, or between and between?
A year.
A year.
Il y a vraiment des personnes qui développent, enfin qui vont assez vite dans leur, on va dire, peut-être en une année, ils vont réussir à se débrouiller assez bien au quotidien. Mais c'est vraiment, mais ça dépend vraiment de beaucoup de paramètres. Le fait de se sentir tout le monde n'apprend pas non plus à la même vitesse, donc c'est vraiment compliqué de répondre, même de faire une réponse. Moi, j'ai eu des personnes qui, au bout de 32 ans, en France, ne parlaient toujours pas le français. Donc, et d'autres qui, au bout de 1 ou 2 ans, se débrouillent parfaitement. Donc, c'est compliqué.
José, you might not be totally satisfied with the answer, but Marie was talking about cases from someone who can integrate and acquire French skills in 1 year. And she was also mentioning people who, after 30 years in France, were not able to be socially autonomous in French. So it's between 1 year and 32 years.
Very big difference, but I understand.
Okay.
It is quite complex because, as Marie and Sophie have been explaining, they're all specific cases. Every single one is an individual with a specific case. You said that you started off 11 years ago with, I think it was 10 or 11 workshops, and we're at 134 today. 134 workshops, how many people does that represent who actually go through the workshop in a year?
More than 1,000.
More than 1,000 per year. Yeah. Okay. It's a very important number.
Yes.
Teachers, in normal classrooms have to deal with 30 kids throughout the year. Here we're talking about training 1,000 people. Training is a big word, a very generic way to say it, but it's really impressive to see that so many people are trained each year. We have a question from Andrea Munoz. Andrea, the floor is yours.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I would like to know the target of the people who do this course. We are talking that more women than men, and I would like to know the average of the age of these people. We are talking about people between 30 and maybe 40 years old, or older or younger. What type of people? Thank you.
La question d'Andrea, c'est l'objectif de ces participants et leur âge moyen.
Je dirais, elles ont des enfants en cours, elles ont des enfants au collège, en ce qui me concerne. Donc, je dirais qu'elles ont entre 35 et 40, 45 ans, quelque chose comme ça. Sophie,
as for the average age, those women have children aged between 10 and 14. So the average age is between, the range is between 30, 35 and 40, 45 years old.
But we also have a workshop in a primary school, and there are more younger.
And there are also younger mothers with small children.
And the men are not represented on this project. There is only 100, maybe less, men.
Out of 1,000 attendants a year, only 100 men attend these workshops. Andrea mentioned first also what are the target, the objective of these mothers.
Des objectifs personnels en fait.
Yeah, personal targets.
Alors, c'est d'abord, enfin, c'est vraiment comprendre ce qui se passe au collège, parce que souvent les parents ne comprennent pas.
So the first personal objective of these mothers is to understand what's going on at school, at college.
Mais aussi d'améliorer leur français.
And also to improve their French.
Alors, ce que moi j'ai remarqué, c'est que je n'ai pas très souvent des personnes qui viennent d'arriver en France parce qu'elles ont d'autres problèmes à régler.
Most of these people, mothers attending these workshops, are not fresh migrants. They've been in France after quite a long time. They have not arrived in France 2 weeks or a month ago, because these people, fresh migrants, have other problems to deal with.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Merci beaucoup. One other question, because once again, we're also talking about cooperation and networking. On parle beaucoup aussi de coopération et de réseau. Et je pense que là aussi, c'est un projet. This is a project which really shows how cooperation and network has worked throughout the years. Comment la coopération et le networking, la mise en réseau a marché tout au long de ces années. Simplement, because we went from 11 to 134 schools, that has created in itself a network. Passer de 11 à 134 workshops, ça a créé en soi déjà un réseau. Alors, est-ce que c'est un réseau qui est régional au niveau de l'Académie de Créteil, mais c'est aussi un réseau national. It's a local, regional network. As we can see, 134 workshops, so necessarily it has become a network in itself.
Et comment il diffuse au niveau national?
How does it work? How do you actually communicate the information? And what is the next level? I'm thinking of the national level for the Opening Schools for Parents network.
Alors moi je vais répondre d'abord sur la notion de réseau. En fait, il y a un fort réseau avec entre les professeurs, les inspecteurs, les centres sociaux, les directeurs d'école, les principaux de collège.
There's a strong network already within the network is already constituted by the teachers, the inspectors of the academy, the headmasters of the schools, all of the institutionals which are around the project.
Les centres sociaux aussi.
Social services as well.
Voilà. Et puis pour ce qui est du réseau national, en fait, avec Marie, on fait des tournées dans les différentes académies au niveau national et on a déjà fait à peu près une dizaine d'académies où on fait des interventions sur le référentiel là, que j'ai montré. on fait des interventions sur référentiel et puis sur la mise en animation des ateliers pour aider les intervenants des autres académies.
Okay, so what Sophie just said is that basically on the national level, both herself and Marie actually go and visit all the other academies. So far, they've gone to 10 other academies around France, presenting the project, presenting the tools, presenting the workshop in itself, how it works, how it actually connects, presenting all the work that's been done and the referential guide, for example, that's been set up. So I think what you're trying to say, what's being said, is that it's a growing network. It's something that is still evolving. It's something that has been created 10 years ago, and it's still moving on, and it's still disseminating throughout France. Who knows, maybe one day it might disseminate through another Erasmus project, and it might disseminate throughout Europe.
Yes.
It could be a possibility. Could be interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are actually quite good on timing. It's 10:12. We had planned a short break at 10:10. If you do have other questions concerning opening schools for parents, please don't hesitate. You can once again jot them down on the public chat room, or you can compile your questions and send them over per email afterwards if you like, if you prefer. So it's 10:12. We can take a short break of about 10 minutes, and we'll see you all at 10:22, if that's okay. Maybe you can grab a coffee or go for a quick walk to get some fresh air. And yeah, and we will see you in 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.
Welcome back, everyone. I think we've got just about everyone. We may have lost a few people on the way. Not that many. We were 74 actually at one point. Don't hesitate to turn on your camera feeds as well for sharing and for getting to know each other a little bit better as well. Not an issue. The platform should be able to allow that. And so we will now. I will kindly ask everyone to turn off their microphones. Not necessarily the video. You can leave your video if you like, but please do keep your microphones off if not on the floor, if not talking. We will now move on to the next illustration. And we will be talking, well, first of all, we will be viewing a film on a workshop called VETUP. VETUP, once again, I won't say too much about it because we have our project manager, Catherine Lalire, who is with us, and the coordinator of the project, Lucille Ressancourt, who is also present with us. So I won't say too much about the project itself, just to say that it's a project around apprenticeship, how we get, or what we do to get younger people into apprenticeship. I won't tell you too much about the public. Lucille and Catherine will tell you more about that, and you'll get a lot of information in the video. So same format as before. We'll move on to the video, and from there we'll have a little introduction or recap of VETUP with Lucille and Catherine, and from there we'll move on to questions and answers with all of you. So thank you very much for being with us, and I'm just going to grab the link, and we will start in just, if you can just bear with me just a few seconds. I apologize because I have another document right on the same screen. Even though it's a big, huge screen, it's actually a little bit complicated to move from one to the other. Okay, there we go. So, what's going on? Okay. Enjoy the video. Thank you very much for that. It was a very interesting film. Apprenticeship is something which is quite original, and it's a way for younger kids to be able to move into professional life. We have, I think, in every European countries, many issues with younger populations who leave school early, who are not trained properly, who very often are looking for their future. They're unsure. They're young. It's very often normal. And this program, I think, is quite interesting for us all to view and to understand today, because it has a real cooperation and networking side to it. Catherine and Lucille during the film talked to us about all the different partners that are involved in this project, in this workshop, in this training, and I think it's really interesting to see, and maybe to try to understand how all of these different partners actually come together. Why, first of all, why do they come together? Why do they do that? You know, what's their goal? What's the benefit? And how do they actually make it work? I think that's something that's quite interesting. I will give the floor now to Catherine and Lucille. Maybe if you guys can give us a short introduction word, and then from there, once again, it's up to you, dear audience, to intervene and to ask questions. Maybe once again, if you have workshops or trainings which are similar or relatively similar to this one, maybe you can share with us how it's done in your countries. What do you guys do? How does it work on your side? Lucille, Catherine, the floor is yours.
Oui, bonjour à tous et merci à toute l'équipe de votre invitation. Nous sommes ravis de vous rencontrer, même si c'est à distance. Ce que je souhaiterais rajouter par rapport effectivement à ce que nous avions évoqué dans le court film que vous venez de voir, et ça rejoint ce qui a été présenté tout à l'heure sur l'école ouverte aux parents, c'est le fait aussi d'intégrer les familles dans ce projet en leur donnant des explications, une présentation aussi de ce qu'est l'apprentissage.
So, Catherine is very glad to attend this meeting. And one more point to be added to the presentation is that VETUP, like Open School for Parents, tries to involve parents in the project. It is not only a project for youngsters, but it also involves, it tries at least, to involve parents in the project.
Oui, puisque effectivement, souvent, les parents ne savent pas trop ce qu'est l'apprentissage, n'ont pas forcément envie d'envoyer leur enfant qui a 16 ans, 17 ans, en tous les cas qui n'a pas, qui est jeune, dans une entreprise, dans un CFA à l'école, et il faut aussi les rassurer sur ce que c'est que l'apprentissage, ce que c'est qu'un CFA et ce que ça peut permettre d'apporter aux jeunes.
The objective is also to inform parents about the project, because many of them do not know anything about apprenticeship. Many of them are reluctant to send their kids, 16-year-old kids, 17-year-old kid, to apprenticeships or within a company. So the project has to inform to get the parents involved.
Donc vous l'aurez compris, deux grands axes sur ce projet qui est financé par l'État français, le ministère du Travail. Donc à la fois l'accompagnement des jeunes comme on vient de vous présenter, mais aussi donc des interventions auprès aussi d'associations, des familles, d'interlocuteurs aussi au sein de l'éducation nationale qui ont besoin de davantage d'informations sur ce qu'est l'apprentissage.
So two major axes for this project, which is funded by the state. First, of course, taking care, coaching the young, giving them a project, a perspective. And also, second axis is to get associations, parents, companies involved in the project.
Yeah.
Merci Gilles.
Pleasure, Catherine.
Lucille, peut-être la manière dont, à moins qu'il y ait des questions, déjà quelques premières questions.
Questions?
Maybe Lucille, maybe if possible, if you could maybe tell us in a few words, you know, how that network that you guys have built around that project with the different partners, how does it actually work? Meaning, everyone has a very specific role. How did you guys meet? How did you make it work? How did you actually get these partners on board? And you know, how does it work on almost on a daily basis?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Do you hear me well?
Yes, very well.
Yes?
Thank you.
Okay. I'm very glad to be here too. I will try to speak in English, and if it's not really good, maybe Benoit or Gilles can help me. So yes, the partnership and the networking is one of the key of this program. First, about the partnership, it's very important because to make that program works, we had to make a partnership. It was one of the conditions of the Caisse des Dépôts to sign an agreement with them and get these funds to finance that project. We have partners that are implicated in this project about financial way, but also in the reflections to how to build, to articulate this program to make that works for the young people. So how we do to make that work with the partnership, because we are many actors working on that. And so we need someone to make the link. So it's one of my roles. I have to keep the contact with all the actors, the partners, the team. We try to create relation. So I do meeting regularly during the program, and also when there is not young people doing this program, I don't know how to say, when there are not workshops, because we have periods with lunch workshop and sometimes there is not, we keep this link. We use WhatsApp, so we keep chatting together about this program. We do meeting to prepare every program, to talk about the people who are in this program, about their project, their situation, to try to personalize all the workshop, all the information of the partners, to answer to their needs, not a general need, but
so it's something that's not fixed. You're actually improving the program as you go along.
Yes, all the time. We make a group with 7, 10, 15 young people during maybe 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks that we adapt all the time in function of their needs, their situation, their project, their experience. So we try to personalize all the time. And the intervention, the trainers adapt as well. with the intervention, what they do with them. We have a general program, but they adapt all the time.
Okay, that's very clear. Thank you. Everyone from the audience, if you have questions for Catherine or Lucille, please do. Please join us. Do you have programs such as this one in Bulgaria, or in Poland, or in Spain, or in Austria? Are there any programs which are similar in the sense that you're also trying to bring youngsters into apprenticeship, maybe as a first sort of a reflection, and maybe on a second sort of point of view, how do you guys deal with that? What sort of network do you actually articulate to make that work?
Oui, nous serions effectivement intéressés de connaître si ce type de dispositif existe dans vos pays et comment vous faites, quels sont les points forts si vous en avez, voilà, que l'on puisse peut-être s'en inspirer.
So Catherine is just saying that we would very much like to know about programs such as this one in your own countries, simply to be able to share experience, of course, but also maybe to see the strong points, the weaker points, such as within our own program, and to also inspire each other on how things are done. So, okay, if there aren't any questions for the moment from the audience, that's okay. Once again, you can always write your questions. You don't necessarily need to speak if you don't wish to. You can write your questions on the chat board, or you can also, at a later stage, if you wish, send us an email with a compilation of your questions. Maybe still on the VETUP side of things, it's a fairly new program. Yeah, I think it started only about a year ago, a small year. Yeah.
Yes, it's been 1 year that it starts.
Yeah, 1 year. So it's from what I remember, it's an innovative program in the sense that it's something that in the way that it's done. I'm not saying that we don't work with apprenticeships, but in the way that the problem is being tackled, it's very innovative. Hence why it's being funded by a specific fund from the ministry, the work ministry from the state. How long will this program last? And Catherine just said there are strong points and weaker points. Today, a year after, what do you believe are the strong points and the weaker points?
I think with this experimental program, we can try many things, and it is one thing that is very interesting, and we can note that with these young people very far away from the school or the employment, we have to precise that the people that integrate the VETUP program doesn't go at school since months, maybe 1 year. They spend many time in their home, in their room, doing nothing or just watching Netflix, or I don't know. Sometimes they don't have passion. They don't want to do something specially. So it's a big work to create motivation, to engage them. And I think that the main thing is to support them individually and in a collective way as well. We try to plan a regular meeting with the conseillère en insertion pro, si tu peux m'aider, Benoît, je ne sais pas comment
the professional insertion counselor.
Yes, to have a kind of intimate cell, and they can speak about everything, the personal things and the professional things, because we have many young people who has also personal problems, and they have to deal with this first, and then they can concentrate about the professional project, the educational project. When that work is done, we can use all the experience of these young people to les tirer vers le haut, les uns les autres.
To bring them up.
Yes, thank you. And we create like a community, and it creates also solidarity between all of them. And I think it's a key that works to leur permettre de réussir dans leur projet, to
allow them to make the project work, to actually attain their objective.
Yes, but sometimes what we can as well note is these personal problems are a big frein, un gros frein.
Yeah, they're a restraint. Personal problems are a real restraint. They're a real break to being able to move forward for these kids.
Yes, thank you. And sometimes for these young people, we don't know how to keep them with us, to keep the program, because sometimes from a day to another day, we don't have any news from these young people. We call him, we send email, we try to get him back, integrating the program to help him individually or in the collective workshops. Sometimes it doesn't work, and we don't have always the solution about that. That is a big difficulty that we can meet.
Yeah. It's understandable. Thank you. Also, maybe, well, we have a question from José Manuel. So, José, please take the floor.
We also face the same problem that Lucille explained, that before we need to work professional with these young people, we need to solve the personal problems that sometimes are huge and complicated. And I want to ask Lucille if you deal with this kind of personal problems, or you refer young people to other institutions or departments, wherever, to face these problems. Sorry.
On dire aussi, juste en français, il y a aussi des problèmes personnels à résoudre. Voilà la question à laquelle Lucille va répondre.
Yes, there is two ways to help them, because unfortunately we don't have social assistants in the program. We would like to, but we don't have enough funds for that. We have in the team a pedagogical reference and an insertion reference that help a lot these people. Because they try to guide them to another structure that can help them more precisely, because it's if they have a problem with the papers, the French papers, or a dyslexic problem, or a disability problem, we have a network that permits us to guide to these other structures and help them. But the insertion advisor and the pedagogical reference support them a lot. They call institution or structures with them. They try to make a file. They do introspection. They talk a lot. The insertion referent is psychologic specialist as well, so she can make them interest, and so they can speak and they can talk together, and she try also to work with the parents sometimes. So they are both very present to help, but sometimes we don't have the professional because we don't have the necessary funds to employ more people in the team.
Yeah, thank you. Also,
sorry that I interrupted.
Yes, go ahead.
It's the same problem here in Spain.
Yes. Okay. And do you have a solution?
Yeah. No.
Do you have ideas to know how to fix these problems?
Unfortunately not.
Maybe we can ask Europe to give us some fun. I think it's interesting to see that indeed, you know, in every country, in European countries, we're facing the same sort of situation, same sort of problems. One of the aspects that I'd like to understand also a little bit is how do the kids actually react when they're being confronted or when they meet with companies, and how do the companies react when they're confronted with the kids? How does that work?
What? Yes. This is all the interest of these meetings, and that's very surprising or interesting sometimes because I will give you an example. There was a meeting with a professional director of a company, I don't remember which company, and she has a way to speak that is very paternalist or like comment dire, je vais parler en français peut-être.
Oui,
on a eu un atelier avec un professionnel d'entreprise, un directeur qui avait un discours un peu paternaliste ou ayant un comportement de relation dominant-dominé, un peu un tout-puissant, je suis l'employeur, qui décide et qui juge uniquement.
So, as an example, a workshop with a professional, a boss, who had, how can I say, a condescending attitude. I am the boss, you are. So, what happened?
Et donc, les jeunes ont été, enfin les jeunes et les moins jeunes, hein, parce qu'on avait aussi des personnes en situation de handicap, se sont sentis pour certains un peu agressés ou mal à l'aise, ou ça a provoqué des réactions très fortes, alors pas forcément négatives.
So the result was that youngsters and other people attending this workshop felt uneased in a difficult situation, in a kind of inferiority situation.
Et c'était pas négatif du tout, puisque en fait, ça leur a permis de se confronter à la réalité, puisque le monde du travail, ou un futur employeur ou manager, ça peut être aussi une personne avec qui on n'est pas compatible. Et ça leur permet d'apprendre à se connaître pour savoir ce qu'ils veulent vraiment aussi, savoir ce qu'ils recherchent.
And the result of this difficult situation was that, well, the youngsters just discovered real life, what may happen very often in companies. So they have to confront themselves to other people, and they could analyze how they reacted to this kind of situation. Because I guess after this workshop, there was, of course, a feedback with the trainers, and so that the youngsters could draw the lessons of this meeting. Yes.
Oui. Yes, oui, on faisait un débriefing qui engendrait beaucoup d'échanges, de débats, de réactions, et c'était donc très intéressant. mais ça leur permettait aussi de voir qu'il y a un décalage d'attitude, de discours entre la vie personnelle et la vie professionnelle, et que travailler le savoir-être et l'attitude professionnelle était vraiment nécessaire, puisqu'il faut ajuster son comportement aussi, parfois.
So the feedback was very interesting because they could speak about all of they have felt, and they realized also the importance of soft skills, the difference between professional life and personal life, the difference between professional behavior and personal behavior. So it was a very rich lesson. Yes?
Yes, thank you, Gilles.
Very interesting. We have a comment on the chat from Steli Peteva, the ICSS director, who wanted to share that in Bulgaria, ICSS has just started a project with people with intellectual disabilities who will be supported to develop work skills through self-assessment, skills training, and practice in work environment with psychological support. The cooperation is between service provider, employers, people with disabilities, parents, a slow process with careful planning. Very interesting. It's actually quite similar. Thank you for sharing that study. I think that's very interesting to see that once again we're facing the same sort of situations, same sort of difficulties with the same sort of public. So it would be I think interesting also to understand how, you know, once the kids are in the program, we talked a little bit about soft skills. Yeah, you just mentioned, Lucille, how the youngsters actually need to understand that they need to adapt to the situation. Personal life on one hand, professional life on the other. How does that? What sort of tools do you put in place? What sort of workshops do you put in place to implement that change in attitude, in posture, to help them see that they need to work on themselves, on their posture, on how they present, for example, to be able to move to the next step? Practically, how does that work?
There are different kind of workshops to work about this. We have theater workshop. They work about the breathing, the posture, how to use the body, how to what attitude to get. That is to improve the trust in themselves. Work about the stress and work about how to improve my behavior. They also have a practice workshop because they have a collective project. They have to work on it all together, and getting like a real fake function in the group. They are like in a fictive company with the job, which each one has a responsibility, and so they have to improve their autonomy, responsibility, professional conscience, work in a team, etc., to develop the soft skills. So we give a project, an activity. They are active in a workshop. They are doing something all together or in autonomy, and like that they develop it. And after we make a debriefing all together to take conscience that they develop that soft skills doing this. And they can understand as well that when they are going to be an apprentice, when they will start their training and their job as apprentice salary in a company, they will do things, they will have a job and responsibility, and they will develop their soft skills and their other technical skills, like doing something, something concrete. If they can see the interest of this approach, the skill approach.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So in short, could we say VETUP is the philosophy of VETUP is learning by doing.
Yes, yes, totally.
Experience.
Yes, and they also make little exercises in some workshop. Like they have a workshop that names interpersonal communication, and they do exercises, and they can observe each other, and after they brief in a collective way to say, you did that, you say that, and it means that. So, but I didn't want to show that about me. So how can I improve the way I am, the way I talk, to give the good picture of myself that I want to give to an employer? And they also make employment simulation d'entretien. Yeah. So
simulation.
Yes, it's many exercises to do, and then to observe it and take conscience and put the finger on that thing and understand that they have to improve something. And when they do this exercise another time, they try to improve and improve and improve until being good in what they want to show about themselves.
Okay, we have another question from Jose.
Yes.
And then after Jose, we also have a question on the chat board, which I will read after. Jose?
Okay, I want to ask if you, Lucy, also has the problem to work with people that they blame on the companies, or they blame on the society. They don't see that they have any problem. When you invite them to assist the workshops, and you invite them to work in the soft skills, they say, I don't need this, I need a job. And when you say, okay, it's the second time that I send to the company and you fail, they say, it's because of the company, it's because of the owner of the company, they are exploiting workers, etc., but they don't face that they can need this kind of soft skills. Do you have this profile, and how do you deal with that?
Yes, we totally have this kind of profile, and we use the group to make that change. Because me or another partner, an adult, can have something to say, to answer to that. But we are an adult, and so sometimes they don't like to have the, comment dirais-je, un discours moralisateur ou un discours avec des conseils qu'ils ont entendus 1000 fois.
So it's very difficult because, of course, an adult speech is with morals, with do this, don't do that, judgment. Just the mere fact it's an adult speech, and they don't accept it.
Yes. So we use the workshop in group to... Je reprends en français. On s'appuie sur les autres jeunes du groupe qui n'ont pas forcément le même avis ou le même discours pour en fait porter le même discours que nous pourrions porter, mais étant donné que ça sort de la bouche de leur père, ils vont peut-être les prendre plus en considération. Et on arrive à les faire avancer grâce au groupe.
So the trick is how can we make them hear what we want to say, is that it's not an adult, but they work together collectively in a workshop, and the speech comes from the other attendants. So it doesn't, the morals, the directives, the do this, do that, and this is how you should, comes from the group, but not from a single adult.
Yeah. It's peer work. Very interesting. We also have a question from Julian Grimaud. he says, hi, thank you for these presentations. Well, you're welcome, of course. That's what we're here for. You said the project started a year ago. How long does the training last with the youngsters, more or less? And after 1 year, what can you say about the success rate? Have some of your trainees found a job, or are others on better tracks?
Okay. So the last training was 1 month. It was in June, July, and the one before was 12 weeks. We have different during of the programs. And the next one that will start next Monday will durer, je ne sais plus dire durer.
Length, duration.
4 weeks. And the next group, for example, will be young people with the baccalaureate. So maybe they have less difficulties in some fundamental skills, whereas the last group, who was more 16, 18 years old people, and so it was a program longer, on 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Et le résultat a été au bout de ces...
Alors, je vais reprendre en français parce que je suis quand même plus à l'aise.
So now we're taking as an example a 12-week program,
Yes.
and the question is, what results?
Yes. Alors, on a à peu près 60% d'insertion, soit en alternance, soit en formation initiale, donc retour en formation initiale parce qu'ils n'ont pas trouvé de patron pour leur alternance, ou bien
So first,
trouvé un emploi.
60% back to school or going through apprenticeship.
Yes.
What about the other 40%?
Alors, about the 40%, il y en a à peu près, je dirais 20% qui sont toujours inscrits en école et toujours en recherche d'alternance.
20% still looking for, still as job seekers, still in the expecting.
Yes.
And the last 20%?
Les 20 autres derniers pourcents, on les a perdus dans la nature. On n'arrive pas à les joindre. Et a priori, des dernières nouvelles que nous avions eues, ils n'étaient inscrits nulle part ou sans emploi.
And unfortunately, the last 20% have disappeared.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's still a quite impressive result after a year. It's once again, it's an experimental program. It's innovative. It's working with partners around our own network, but all sorts of partners from outside, as you said. And for a program that's only a year on the going, a 60% success rate is actually quite good, I think. And as you say, you're improving as you go along with your partners through meetings, debriefs, etc. You're improving because of the kids with whom you work, which also, it's a circle. It's a good circle. So that's really nice. I want to thank you all very much. Because we're really nearing the end. If there are questions, maybe we can still have one or two. If not, you can always, once again, write them down on the chat, because the chat, I think we should be able to copy it and therefore take the questions home with us. You can send them through email, of course. We'll be more than happy to answer your questions or to put you in contact with the different project managers from Opening Schools to Parents or VETUP, or both, of course, and for the future ones in the next couple of days. Feel free to participate that way offline if you like. Do visit the VETUP website. I don't remember the URL right now, not top of my head, but I'll send all that through very, very soon. So visit the site. We also have a YouTube channel on which you'll be able to find all the films. So it's not accessible right away because you haven't seen all the films yet. So we don't want you to see the films before, you need to come back to be able to see the next films. But all the films with the subtitles will be available offline through the VETUP YouTube channel. Very, very happy to have had all of you guys here. We still have 69 people online, so I think it's a good job. If I may, just one last thing before we go. Well, two last things. I would like to maybe just entice you to for the next day. Next day will be on November 16th. We'll start at 10 a.m. That's French time, so UTC +1. We will go through 3 different devices or training programs: CRETEIL, EEP, and Enhance Your Image. We'll do things a little bit differently next time in the sense that we will first go through all of the different programs, those 3 different programs, after which we will have a roundtable around those programs, but not only. So we'll have the people, the project managers and people who are responsible for those programs with us. We hope to have them all here within the room together, which will change the atmosphere a little bit. We really do hope that all of you will join us and will participate. So that will be from 10 to 12 on the 16th. Please do come with us. And last thing I would like to do, if that's possible, if you could turn on your webcams so that we can all just have a little wave like that, which will be very very nice to have for our dissemination and to show everyone around the world that there's actually quite a few of us here today.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care and see you all. And thank you very much once again for your participation. See you all on the 16th. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.